Hello students, in this video we are going to discuss the two most vital terms while studying breach of contract, and these two terms are liquidated damages and penalty. Students normally gets confused regarding these two terms. They cannot make out that what are these two terms actually. So in this video I'll try to cover each and every aspect regarding these two terms. So let's start. Before studying these two terms, liquidated damages and penalty, you need to understand what are prefix damages. Prefix damages are the damages which during the formation of the contract, before the formation of the contract, the contractor and the contractee decides that that they basically anticipate that if the contract is breached on a future date, then what will be the actually compensation or damages will be paid by the aggrieved party. For example, A and B, there are two parties. A was supposed to deliver certain bags to B and B was liable to pay a certain money. So on the formation of the contract, during the formation of the contract, they both decided that if either A fails or B fails, then 60,000 rupees will be given to the aggrieved party. Now if A fails, then B will be getting 60,000, or if B fails, then A will be getting that 60,000. So these are the prefix damages. Now prefix damages are of two types: liquidated damages and penalty. Now what are these two terms? So let me tell you one thing, that in English law there is a clear cut distinction between these two terms. It means that these two are treated as two different separate things, that is liquidated damages and penalty in English law. But the Indian law, it does not make any difference between the liquidated damages and penalty. So now let me tell you, as per English law, what is the meaning of these two terms. Liquidated damages, as per the English law, it means a reasonable estimate of the future losses, and on the basis of that estimate, a particular compensation is decided on the date of formation of the contract, that if the contract is breached on a future date, then this much compensation will be paid to the aggrieved party. So it means that it is a reasonable compensation, genuine compensation, that must be given to the aggrieved party, but when only on the breach of a contract. So it is basically a fair compensation which will be given to the aggrieved party if the contract is breached, and it is decided on the basis of a genuine estimation of the loss. So these are the liquidated damages. But now what is penalty? Penalty is something which may not be reasonable, or I can say penalty may not have any relation with the losses. For example, A or B, A was supposed to deliver certain bags and B was supposed to B was supposed to give some price to A, and suppose A was to give 500 bags at cost of 100. So this will cost him total 50,000. And if B refuses to pay, A delivered, B refuses to pay, then the loss that A would be suffering will be 50,000. But they decided that aggrieved party should pay rupees 5 lakhs. If any one of them, either A or B, breaches the contract, then the aggrieved party should be receiving 5 lakhs from the party in default. Aggrieved party should be receiving 5 lakhs. But in real scenario, we can see that the maximum loss will be of rupees 50,000. But the aggrieved party will be getting 5 lakhs. So we can see that it is very much unreasonable. So it cannot be treated as liquidated damages because this is unreasonable. So now the question comes, then why such huge amount? Because in order to create a terror among the parties that if they won't fulfill their promise, then they will be liable to pay this amount. So penalty is basically to create a terror so that both the parties fulfill their obligations. It is basically unreasonable. It has no relation with the damages or the actual losses suffered. So let's see what's written. If the amount fixed by all the parties is unreasonable or used to force the performing party to fulfill the obligation, then it is a penalty. It is unreasonable. It has no relation with the losses. In such cases, the amount is disregarded and the suffering party cannot claim more than the actual loss. Now let me tell you one thing. As per the Indian law, as far as our Indian law is concerned, although the penalty is 5 lakhs, although the penalty is 5 lakh, but in the given case, suppose A suffers a loss of 50,000. So in exam there may be question that suppose the penalty was decided at 5 lakh, but the actual loss sustained was 50,000. So how much the aggrieved party is entitled to receive? Your answer will be rupees 50,000 only. Means although the penalty was set up at a very much higher amount, but the penalty amount cannot exceed the actual loss. So this was the provision as per this is the provision which is decided as per Indian law. We'll be reading the Indian law. So let me give you certain more examples. Suppose I can give an example. Suppose if the loss was 80,000, but penalty was decided at, but the penalty was decided at 50,000. In this case, since the prefix damages in the form of penalty was decided at 50,000, although the loss was 80,000, so as per the Indian law, only 50,000 will be allowed. So whichever is, I can say whichever is lower, loss or penalty, whichever is lower. Suppose in this case, loss was 80,000, but penalty becomes 1,50,000. So the actual compensation that will be given to the aggrieved party will be only rupees 80,000. So whichever is lower, this is the provisions as per our Indian law. That is why it is written that the amount is disregarded and suffering party cannot claim more than the actual loss. This is the same thing in case of Indian law also. Now see what is written about Indian law. The Indian law makes no distinction between the liquidated damages and penalty. Both are the same thing. The compensation awarded cannot exceed the amount what I said right now mentioned in the contract. According to section 74 of the Indian Contract Act, if the party fix the damages, the court will not allow more. Suppose the damages were fixed at 60,000, but the loss was 90,000. So in that case, the court will not allow more than 60,000. Similarly, however, it may award a lesser amount, but it cannot award an amount exceeding what was stated in the contract, depending on the case. Hence, the suffering party gets reasonable compensation, but no penalty. So what I said, there is no differences between liquidated damages and penalty as per Indian Contract Act. Means I can say Indian Contract Act assumes no penalty. There are only liquidated damages. Since no unreasonable claim is accepted by court, therefore there are no penalty in Indian Contract Act. I can give another example. Suppose the loss was 70,000, but penalty was given at 1 lakh. In this case, only 70,000 will be given to aggrieved party. So now what about the 30,000? The aggrieved party will not be getting 30,000. So I can say there is no penalty. Only damages of rupees 70,000 in the form of claim will be given to the aggrieved party. So we can say that both are same. There are no penalty basically as per Indian law. There are only liquidated damages because the aggrieved party will not get anything over the actual loss. And even if the loss was higher, though the amount which was decided as per damages before the formation or during the formation of the contract was less, the aggrieved party will only get that amount. Now there is an important provision. There is an exception to section 74 which states that if a party enters into a contract with the state or central government for the performance of an act in the interest of general public, then a breach of such a contract makes the party liable to pay entire amount mentioned in the contract. Now I can give an example here. Suppose there was a person named Mr. X and he entered into a contract with the central government. Now what kind of contract? Suppose there was a contract that he will be serving a duty of a police officer for 1 month daily from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. but then the contract was breached by Mr. X, and when the contract was made, it was decided that if anyone breaches the contract, then 2 lakh as compensation will be given to the aggrieved party. Now, what are the vital points? The vital points are that the contract was made between a party and a central government or state government, whatever it may be, and this contract was basically in the interest of general public. And now if the party breaches the contract, then they are liable to pay the entire amount. Now in my example, the entire amount is 2 lakhs. So not even a single rupee less than the what was mentioned in the contract will be entertained, means the agreed party will be receiving fully 2 lakh rupees from the party in default. So if a contract is made with the central government, then it must be fulfilled. This law, the provision has been inserted in the law because to compel the party to fulfill his obligations towards the central government. This was written in section 74. Now we can differentiate between the liquidated damages and the penalty. How there are certain points, this is very easy. I can give certain examples. First, let's read this. If the sum payable is far in excess of the probable damage on the breach of the contract, then it is a penalty. Now, how can we identify that a particular thing is a penalty or a breach of or a liquidated damage? For example, I can say that suppose the actual loss is 70,000, but the sum payable is 90,000. So out of this 90,000, we know that 70,000 is genuine because of loss. But what about the excess 2,000? This excess 20,000 is imposed in the form of penalty. Now, if a contract mentions an amount payable at a certain date and an additional amount if a default happens, then the additional sum is a penalty. Similar with the first point, like suppose I can take an example that I needed A borrowed rupees 10,000 from B. A borrowed 10,000 from B with a condition that if B fails to repay within 6 months, B is liable to pay A rupees 15,000. So here, why 15,000? Out of this 15,000, 10,000 are the liquidated damages, but this 5,000 extra is in the form of penalty. Up to 10,000 it's reasonable, so it must be liquidated damages, but any sum above and over 10,000 will be treated as penalty. Now even if the court specifies a sum as a penalty, even if the contract specifies a particular sum as a penalty or damage, it's on the discretion of the court to treat whether is a penalty or a liquidated damages. Now suppose A and B enters into a contract. Now they suppose decided that rupees 20,000 will be paid as liquidated damages and 5,000 will be paid as penalty. So total 25,000 will be treated as compensation. Now it may depends upon court. The court may on its own discretion can decide that whether this 25,000 shall be treated as liquidated damages or the bifurcation is quite simple. It is okay. So it depends on the court. Court may also say that entire 25,000 shall be treated as penalty and no liquidated damages. So it depends upon the court that how it bifurcates that amount in the form of liquidated damages and penalty. The crux of the penalty is the payment of money to create a terror among the defaulting party. So basically penalty is imposed to create terror, but liquidated damages are the true pre-estimate genuine damages which the party in default must give to the aggrieved party. So the conclusion part is that while English law distinguishes between a penalty and liquidated damages, there's no such distinction in Indian code. So in Indian code, you can directly say that there is basically no penalty. There are only liquidated damages. Now there are certain examples, like if A contracts with B that if A practices as a surgeon in Kolkata, he will pay rupees 50,000 to B. Now there was a contract between A and B that A won't be practicing as a surgeon, and if he practices, he will pay rupees 50,000 to B. Now what happens? A started practicing as a surgeon in Kolkata. Now in this case, B will get compensation, but to the maximum of 50,000. He will not get even a single penny over and above 50,000. It may be possible that the court may reduce the amount of compensation, but B will not get any amount over 50,000. Now again example number 2, A borrows rupees 10,000 from B and gives him a bond for rupees 20,000 payable by 5-year installment of rupees 4,000 with a stipulation that in default of payment the whole shall become due. Why this rupees 10,000 extra? Although A borrowed 10,000, but in the bond it was written that if B fails, B should be liable to pay rupees 20,000 if he fails to repay that 10,000. So this extra 10,000 obviously it is a kind of penalty, because these are not liquidated damages. Had it been liquidated damages, then the maximum amount that should be payable by B to A in case of default should have been only 10,000. But why extra 10,000? These extra 10,000 are in the form of penalty. But in the case 3, if A takes a loan of rupees 10,000 and if A fails to pay, then only if B is liable. I am repeating example 3. If A gives a loan to B for the loan was of rupees 10,000, and if B fails to repay that amount, then if the question states that B is only liable to pay that 10,000, then in such cases there are no penalty. Only these are liquidated damages for the actual loss sustained by A. So these are the basic terms. I hope you have understood this part. Thank you so much.